Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Countdown to Infinity. This is it. We have made it. It is episode 18. We are here today to talk about Black Panther, the penultimate episode in this short podcast series, even though we are going to keep going with it, but it turns into like a 3 times a year thing. So
I believe what you mean by short is infinite in length.
Infinite because they'll never stop making these movies, and Matt and I will never stop going to them and wanting to talk about them.
That's right.
That's right. Today we are talking about Black Panther, and we're going to start today off a little bit differently than we normally do and acknowledge something pretty important about this film, and that's the fact that this film is a lot more than just us talking about the silly stories and cool costumes and kick-ass fight scenes.
There is an obvious cultural and like political element to this film that has been sort of taken up. It's evident in the box office draw of this movie and how important this film has become to a lot of people. And we both sort of felt like, being that, you know, the kind of podcast this is, and, you know, our perspectives as relatively affluent white Canadian boys, that to a certain extent this movie wasn't made entirely for us. And so, and, you know, we're not necessarily as equipped to talk about some of the themes and the politics of this film as some other content creators are out there on the internet. So to start things off, we wanted to point you in the direction of a couple of articles that go a little deeper on those themes, some videos and things like that, to basically, you know, highlight some other voices that that bring an additional perspective to discussion of the film.
Yep. So below you'll find links to there's a fantastic video by the director Ryan Coogler. He did he partook in a series that is done by Vanity Fair, which is a closer look basically at a scene, and he actually talks about the fight scene in the casino, and it goes, there's a lot more there than just how they filmed it. There's a lot there about theme and, you know, and the deeper meaning behind, you know, what this film is talking about. There's also a fantastic article over on the New Yorker, who wrote this article?
This is by Jelani Cobb.
Okay.
And it's called Black Panther and the Invention of Africa. And it is a long form article talking about you know, essentially like tying the themes of the movie into the history of the slave trade in Africa.
Yeah.
There's another article that we found by Siddhant Adlakha, formerly of Birth Movies Death. In this case, he's writing for The Village Voice, titled "In Black Panther: American Dreams and American Nightmares Clash." And he also does sort of a long form piece talking about the how the different characters in the film represent aspects of both sort of like Black history in America and the political perspectives of the United States throughout its own history, being both like a colonialist power and as it is these days sort of sliding towards an isolationist state.
Yeah, and then the last thing I think we'll link is a great video done by Danielle Radford over on Screen Junkies. Title of the video is "Black Panther is Blacker Than You Thought," and it's just another really great, concise look at the themes of the movie and just going deeper into everything that we are not going to talk about today, because it's going to be hard for us, obviously, not to touch on some of these topics, but we will continue to talk about these movies in comparison to the other MCU movies. And if you're looking for a little bit more information, hit those links below and go ask for people. Honestly, I found all of these articles and videos because I went on Twitter and asked for people to point me in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that should just be something that you do in general.
Yeah.
Go and seek the opinions of other people, especially those in, positions much different than your own.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's incredibly important. I watched most of the videos and read most of the articles that were linked to me today. It's probably a little bit of a pain in the ass to go back through my Twitter mentions and see all the other ones that we didn't directly link to, but go and search. They're out there.
Yeah. With a movie this culturally impactful, there are tons and tons and tons and tons of videos and pieces of writing, and like think pieces and so on, just talking about what this means to various different people, and from a whole host of different perspectives, and talking about what this movie means to them, each person. So, feel free to go and read up.
Learn yourself some stuff is the name of my new book.
That's the name of your new book, hey?
Yeah, it's a really bad book. I wouldn't buy it.
Because the content of the book is go read all these other books that will actually teach you some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's dive into this episode. As I said at the start, this is it. This is the penultimate episode. The next episode that we're going to do is it's not even going to be a rewatch. Like, we're not even going to be like 20 minutes after our first viewing. I'm terrified. I'm scared, Matt. What if it's bad?
Don't do that to me, James.
What if Infinity War is not good?
Oh.
What if that's the movie they mess up?
Then the rest of my year is going to be kind of sad. Oh, man.
It's just going to be an hour and a half of us weeping live on the internet.
Yeah. Just telling people, don't go. Just preserve the hype. Don't subject yourself to the disappointment.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Worse
than Batman versus Superman.
Never. No such thing. You take that back. I don't even want to think about that. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Oh, dear.
In the meantime, though...
I'm going to get hate mail for that.
Yeah, probably. Go away. In the meantime, we got to talk about this movie. This movie is... Look.
This movie is better than Batman versus Superman.
This movie is really, really good. It was... I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun doing the rewatch in the theater.
Yeah.
Because this, as we talked about a few episodes ago, this movie isn't even out of this movie is so new that I was able to do the rewatch for this episode in the movie theater last night.
Yep.
Which was great. This is just a really good big picture film. It is a movie that should be experienced in the theater, and it just delivered once again. Like it was better the second time than it was the first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's always an impressive feat, because there are absolutely movies out there that I will. There's something about. I mean, it's the fact that you're taking time out of your day, you're giving somebody money, and you're sitting down somewhere, and you've invested. Whereas if you're watching a movie you've already seen at home, it's really easy to turn the TV off and go away, or pause it.
Or look at your phone.
Or look at your phone.
I mean, being in the theater doesn't stop some people, but it does stop me.
But when you put yourself in that position of the theater where you are committed, like it would take... I have never, ever walked out of a movie, and I don't think I ever would.
Yeah.
Unless it was like unbelievably offensive. Not just like I would never walk out of a bad movie. I would walk out of offensive movie.
Yeah, sure. Like I'm in basically the same place. The only time I've ever walked out of a movie was when like the person I was with got sick.
Yeah, exactly. But and it's a reason why I don't generally see movies more than once in the theater, because of that commitment. Because I'm not sure if I go back, a second time, am I going to like it as much? I feel like I can't leave, but man. This movie does not suffer from that problem. It is just tremendously good. So, this movie came out February 16th, 2018, which was 2 months ago.
Almost to the day.
almost to the day. It was 2 months ago yesterday this movie came out. They made it for a cool $200 to $210 million, according to Wikipedia. And it's only made $1.3 billion, which is like, it's kind of disappointing, really,
geez.
when you think about it. Like, 1.315, like, you couldn't do 1.4, like...
Well, if it's any consolation, my theater at 3:40 p.m. on a Sunday in a non-3D showing was sold out completely yesterday.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so like it's still selling out theaters.
That's impressive. I went to see it last night, so Monday night, 3D showing. I would say that the theater was like, it was pretty empty. Like, I would say there was maybe about 30 or 40 people in that theater. But yeah.
Yeah. So, you talk about it. Oh, well, it only did $1.35 billion.
Jesus.
It is the third highest grossing domestic film of all time.
Yep.
It has recently beaten Titanic. And it's probably not going to beat Avatar. But
why? I want to do an episode of a podcast where I just complain about why Avatar is the highest grossing film of all time.
Second highest grossing film of all time. Behind Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is the highest all-time domestic gross in the US.
Right.
But worldwide is a slightly different story. Worldwide, it's 10th.
This movie is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
I mean, still.
But it opened late in several territories. Like, it's still, like, mid-run in a bunch of territories, too. So, but yeah, like, huge film.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Matt, I'll give you this one. Who's in this movie?
Okay. So, this movie, directed by Ryan Coogler, and it stars...
We're best friends.
What?
We're best friends.
You and Ryan Coogler?
Yep.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, this stars Chadwick Boseman.
We're best friends.
You're also best friends with Chadwick Boseman.
Yep.
You sure?
Yeah.
We've been friends a long time, and I've never met any of these people, so I'm beginning to doubt the truth of your statement.
That's because we're not best friends.
Whoa. Rude. All right, that's been the Black Panther episode, everyone. Thanks for coming out. By the way, Countdown to Infinity's continuing episodes are canceled. I'm going to go see Infinity War on my own. Peace.
It's going to be really awkward because we're sitting next to each other.
I have tickets for a second showing. But you're right, I would still go to Victoria to see it on opening night.
Exactly. Well, it's fine. We'll put Ashley between us.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, problem solved.
Okay, so we've got Chadwick Boseman as the titular character, Black Panther. We have Michael B. Jordan as the film's primary antagonist, Eric Killmonger. We have Lupita Nyong'o as I don't remember everyone's names in the movie, as Nakia. We have Danai Gurira as Okoye. We've got Martin.
Now you know why I told Matt to go with this. By the way.
Yeah. Well, hey, I've got the article, like the Wikipedia article, out in front of me. I can do this. We got Martin Freeman as Everett Ross, Daniel Kaluuya as he was W'Kabi. Right? That's right.
Yeah.
We've got Letitia Wright as Shuri.
Is Shuri.
Okay. We have Winston Duke, who was M'Baku. We have Angela Bassett, who played T'Challa's mother. I don't remember the name. Ramonda. And
is that ever said?
I don't think so, but it's in the Wikipedia article, so cool.
Yeah, it's in the Wiki. But I don't ever remember it being said in there. But yeah.
Yeah, we have Forrest Whitaker as
Zuri. It's Zuri.
Is it Zuri? You're right.
Yeah.
It is Zuri. There it is. And of course we have Andy Serkis as
Claw.
Ulysses Claw. Also, music by Ludwig Göransson. Cinematography by Rachel Morrison. production by Marvel Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures.
And also a lot of original music by Kendrick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well. The album for this is fantastic if you have not listened to it. And that's actually something that I really enjoyed upon the second viewing last night, was taking the time to really listen to the music in the film. That's one of the things that I do really love going to see a movie for the second time, especially in theaters, is it lets you sort of lean back, and you don't need to pay as close attention to the story as you had to in your first viewing, and it lets you experience everything else that the movie has to offer. At least this is how I always go into a second viewing in the theater.
Absolutely. You pick up more of the sort of textural detail because you're not as focused on the backbone of it.
Yeah, you get to watch the background. You get to watch you get to try to pay a little bit closer attention to characters that maybe don't get as much screen time. You get to listen to the music, right? Like I went and we saw this a few months ago, and the album came out, and I listened to that album a lot, like all the way through, numerous times. And being able to sit there last night and actually pick out the songs and see where they were used and see how they were used is always really cool. And again, it's generally something that I only can really do in the theater, because the movie has my attention. I can't look at my phone. I can't get up and easily go to the bathroom. I can't pause it. So it forces you to continue to pay attention to the movie, but because you already have seen the movie, because you already know what the movie's about and how we get from where we start and to where we end, you get to experience it just in this sort of really different way. And that was really neat, because even, like, I will fully admit, if given the opportunity, if I could have gone and seen every single one of these other, the other 17 movies in the theater, I hands down would have taken that deal.
Oh yeah.
Right? But I'm at home at generally on a Sunday night. I have my phone. It's easy to get a little bit distracted. Normally I have my phone out, or I've been having my phone out when I watch these movies at home, because I actually just take notes on my phone.
Right.
Like I just jot down little things here or there. I couldn't do that for Black Panther. So it forced me to pay closer attention to this than I think any of the other movies that we've rewatched, and it was better for it. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now what's the movie about?
Okay. So, set up for this movie is that several centuries ago, a meteorite from outer space landed in Central Africa. I guess it was sort of like Eastern Africa, but lands in Africa, and basically a civilization forms around it. The meteorite contains vibranium, which is essentially a magical metal. It's the material that Captain America's shield is made out of, but it has other properties beyond just absorbing all vibration. It can be used as an energy source. It can be fabricated into weapons. It can be, turned into technology, and it has an effect via, the infusement of vibranium into the soil. Allows for the heart-shaped herbs to imbue super abilities on the people who ingest them. And as such, one warrior ingests the heart-shaped herb, is affected by the heart-shaped herb and the ostensibly the vibranium within, and becomes superhuman, and the first of the Black Panthers. He then proceeds to unite all the tribes of Wakanda into the nation of Wakanda, save for the Jabari tribe, who go off to live in the mountains, separate from the rest of the Wakandans. The civilization mines the vibranium and uses it to develop advanced technology, and that allows them to develop at an accelerated rate. Throughout the history of the world, they become somewhat isolationist. They hide themselves away. They are able to defend against the colonization of Europe in the West. They are able to defend themselves against the slave trade, and they become this isolated, hidden away technological oasis in Africa of this highly advanced society, but kept secret from the world, so nobody knows about them. We find out in 1992 that they've been sending these little spy cells out to the rest of the world to get information on the goings-on of the world. And the king at the time, T'Chaka, goes to visit one of these spies, his brother, who's been posted to Oakland in California. And upon meeting him, he accuses him of having helped Ulysses Claw steal a bunch of vibranium, which Claw intends to use to fabricate weapons. And we learn that Njobu's essentially seen the plight of African Americans in America, and has decided that he has to help liberate them. He can't he can't just stand by as they're subjected to incarceration and violence. So this ultimately leads to a fight between them where T'Chaka ends up killing him, leaving him behind, and heading back to Wakanda. Flash forward to present day, and in the events of Civil War, T'Chaka, former king of Wakanda, is killed in a bombing of the UN, staged by Zemo, but framing Bucky Barnes. And through the events of that, T'Challa, his son, becomes the new leader of Wakanda. And we essentially open with him returning to Wakanda, running a mission as the Black Panther to extract Nakia, his a former flame of his and still friend, as well as one of the Wakandan spies who's working in the world. So they extract Nakia from her mission and bring her back to Wakanda, where they have the funeral for T'Chaka, as well as the ascendance ritual for T'Challa as he takes on the mantle of King of Wakanda. So they do that. The ritual occurs. M'Baku of the Jabari tribe shows up to challenge T'Challa for kingship of Wakanda. They fight. And T'Challa ultimately wins, but sort of proves himself kind of a noble guy, because the fight is to yield or death, and he convinces M'Baku to yield to him so that he doesn't have to kill him, and he then takes on the mantle of Black Panther. He goes through the process of eating the heart-shaped herb, ascends to the astral plane, has a conversation with his dad about how he's not ready to be without T'Chaka, and his father basically counsels him that he will need as much help as he can get from the smartest people he knows, because he's a good person at heart, and that makes it difficult for him to be king. So we come to the first trial of T'Challa at this point, where through some various events that have occurred, they learn the location of Ulysses Claw. There has been a robbery at a museum in London where an old Wakandan artifact that had previously been misidentified was stolen, and they learned that Ulysses Claw was involved in this theft, and that he's going to be selling this artifact to a buyer at a casino in South Korea. So they, T'Challa looks to his council to get some information, some suggestions as to what he should do, and the various council members sort of counsel him alternately to, sort of let it be stay out of it. The country needs a leader, not a warrior right now. And then Wakabi says no when he robbed us of the vibranium in the first place. He killed my parents, and I've wanted revenge ever since. You have to go bring him back for me, dead or alive. I'm not willing to he continues to slip through our grasp. You have a chance to get him and serve justice to him, so you'd better do that. So T'Challa then decides, all right, we're going to go ahead with the mission. So they head off to the casino. And upon arrival at the casino, they discover that Everett Ross of the CIA is there. And they sort of butt heads with him a little bit, where Ross is saying, well, we're going to bring him in. And T'Challa is like, no, we're going to bring him in, and you'd better stay out of our way. Then Klaw shows up. The Wakandans have their cover blown. A fight breaks out, and Klaw gets away. So a big chase scene ensues across Korea. Seoul, I guess, is where they are. But they fight breaks out, chase takes place, and things, they do manage ultimately to chase him down, but in a situation where the only good escape for it is to let the CIA take him. So he is, Klaw is released to Ross's custody, taken back to a holding cell for interrogation, and then is busted out of the holding cell by his partner, who is Eric Killmonger. Eric. Why can I not remember his last name? It's Eric Stevens is his adopted name. So Killmonger breaks him out, and in the process, mortally wounds Martin Freeman's character, Everett Ross, and at that point, the Black Panther is met with a decision. He can either let Ross die, knowing that he's like a friend and a good guy, or he can potentially expose the advanced society of Wakanda to a foreign spy. And so he makes the decision to bring Ross back to Wakanda and risk exposing the technological advancement of Wakanda to the world in order to save his life. So he returns. Wakabi is like, all right, where's Klaw? You told me you were going to get him. And T'Challa has to let him down, saying, no, I'm sorry, he slipped through our grasp. Wakabi's not happy with this at all, and basically storms off. Eric, meanwhile, is making his escape and proceeds to basically shoot everybody involved. He kills his girlfriend. He kills Ulysses Klaw. And it turns out that he was more or less the mastermind of everything going on the whole time. So he wraps Klaw up in a tarp and hauls him off to the border of Wakanda, where he meets Wakabi. And he drops Klaw at his feet and says, I brought you a present. And so Wakabi, now seeing that Klaw is dead, allows him in and brings him to see T'Challa. So Killmonger shows up and basically storms in and said, well, doesn't storm in, he's escorted in and just informs Black Panther that he plans to challenge for the throne, basically. He's Wakandan, not American, and as it turns out, he is the son of King T'Chaka's brother, and as a member of the royal line, he has the right to challenge T'Challa for the throne. So he does. T'Challa accepts because he knows, having found certain clues, he has come also to the conclusion that Killmonger is who he says he is, and so they head off to the ceremonial battlegrounds to fight. T'Challa loses badly and is ultimately thrown off a waterfall and is left presumed dead. So at this point, Killmonger takes over the throne and proceeds to inform everybody that Wakanda's isolationist days are over. That there are black folks all over the world who have been, who are the descendants of people taken during the slave trade, who were subject to imperial rule, who are oppressed and who are mistreated by the societies in which they live, and Wakanda has the weaponry and power and capability and advancement to be able to liberate them all. And so, having been trained as a warrior for the USA, as like elite special forces and government destabilization, he's going to leverage all of the technology and tools at Wakanda's disposal to overthrow the governments that are keeping these people down, and he is going to essentially conquer the world and rule it the right way, and liberate his brothers and sisters around the world. So he begins to do this. The royal family flees, and they head off to talk to the Jabari, and they manage to steal one remaining heart-shaped herb before Killmonger burns it all. Killmonger, of course, goes through the Black Panther ceremony and is granted the powers of the Black Panther, and is crowned king of Wakanda. And the royal family takes the last remaining heart-shaped herb as an offering to the Jabari tribe to try and get M'Baku to step up, take the herb, become a second Black Panther, and challenge Eric for the throne again to stop him from essentially conquering Earth. M'Baku refuses, but reveals that, in fact, T'Challa survived. He's barely alive. He's suffered grievous injury, but is being kept alive in a coma by being kept in the snow. And so he gives them the opportunity to give T'Challa the heart-shaped herb, which restores his strength and heals his wounds, and gives him another trip to the astral plane, where he confronts his father over the fact that he killed his brother and left a Wakandan child alone, abandoned in America, without his father, and that the choices that T'Chaka made at that time have led to the events of this film and to this reckoning that's upon them. And he condemns him and all of the previous Black Panthers as having been wrong for keeping Wakanda secret from the world when they had this like plentiful bounty of technology and of understanding and of advancement that they could have been sharing with the world, and they could have been doing so much more to help right the wrongs of history, essentially. And so he has this trip and has this realization himself, and then returns to Wakanda to challenge Eric once more, or to continue the challenge. And upon his arrival, a civil war breaks out in Wakanda. The border guards, they take, they are the soldiers of I cannot remember his name now, of W'Kabi, and they take the side of Eric, who has promised to lead them to glory, whereas Okoye, who was the leader of the Dora Milaje, the king's bodyguards, basically, they rebel against having stayed loyal to the throne despite the changeover of power. At this point, they rebel against Eric, and state he's not fit to rule, and so at that point the factions split up, and a war, essentially a civil war, breaks out. So at this point, everybody has their things. Like the various soldiers of Wakanda are fighting each other. Now, healthy again. Everett Ross is given a fighter jet and basically told to go shoot down all the other fighter jets that are carting weapons out of Wakanda. Nakia and Shuri come to T'Challa's aid in the fight by leveraging the various tech and their fighting skills to support him. And T'Challa and Eric face off in combat, essentially, where they sort of like their two opposing worldviews come into conflict with one another. So the fight goes on. Ultimately, T'Challa does succeed. He manages a tricky move and stabs Eric in the chest. And they sort of come to an understanding of each other by the end of this fight. And learning that Eric's father had told him that Wakanda had the most beautiful sunsets on Earth, he takes him up to the edge of a cliff and allows him to watch the sunset as he dies, and offers to save him. He offers, like, I think we can still heal you if you wish. And Eric says, no, I would rather die than spend my life locked up. Bury me in the sea with those who threw themselves from ships because they knew death was better than bondage. And then pulls the sword, or pulls the blade from his chest and dies. And with that, T'Challa sort of picks him up and carries him back, retakes his place as king of Wakanda, and proceeds to issue a decree that Wakanda will no longer pursue a policy of strict isolationism, that the time has come for them to open themselves to the world, to expose what they know with the world, and to share with their knowledge and technology with the world in a productive and constructive way, to help ease the suffering and the evils of the world. And that's basically how the film ends.
What do you think would happen if Captain America ate one of the heart-shaped flowers?
Well, the heart-shaped herbs basically make the Black Panther Captain America.
Right, so would he be like double Captain America?
I don't know. It would make... I assume the Panther powers that come with it would come with it. This is maybe we'd need to dig into the comic books there, because I believe the comic book Black Panther and comic book Captain America actually have divergent skill sets. They're both agile and strong, sort of peak of human capability power sets. But I actually don't know from the comics if the Black Panther powers also come with panther powers, where sense of smell is enhanced, or sees in the dark, or that kind of thing.
Certainly in the movie, they don't really get into that kind
No,
of
I
thing.
mean, he's basically just a super soldier.
Yeah.
So
with an incredible suit, right?
Yeah.
He's a super soldier in he's like Batman mixed with Captain America.
Yeah, a little bit.
More or less.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could just think more of it like Captain America in Iron Man, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was basically just thinking of sort of the dummest thing I could ask.
But then I took it.
I
took it legitimately,
yeah.
and because if he can see in the dark or have powers of enhanced smell or some such thing, maybe those powers would transfer over.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right, I think we're getting a little too deep into this. Hey, I'm gonna say something bold.
Okay.
I want to first say that this does not mean anything about my rankings. This does not reflect my rankings. However, I think this is, technically speaking, the best film of the MCU.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
In regards as an overall film, I think this is the best one.
I certainly think this movie... Sorry, I cut you off a little bit, but I certainly think this movie stands as evidence of what a superhero movie can be.
Yes.
In terms of like not just being a popcorn movie with like dudes punching each other, but actually like really digging in on an actual topic and having something to say about it. They've sort of scratched the surface of it with previous Marvel movies, so I mean, like Iron Man is sort of about arms dealing and the legacy of that, and Winter Soldier is sort of like drones and espionage and surveillance society.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that for me, I think this movie is as close to the Winter Soldier, because that is a movie about, I mean, when it boils down to it, privacy.
Yeah.
And that is an incredibly hot topic right now.
Yeah.
And it has been for a very, very long time. And I think this is probably the first movie since The Winter Soldier that has had something incredibly real to say. Which isn't to say that the movies in between haven't had anything to say, but it's this one is just sort of leaps and bounds above everything else, in my opinion. And it's just a beautifully directed film. It is a gorgeous film when it comes to every aspect of production.
Absolutely.
The sets are amazing. The locations are incredible. Wakanda looks unbelievable. The wardrobe, perfect. The music is fantastic. The writing is sharp. The cinematography looks great. Like, it is a very, very well-made film.
Absolutely.
And I think it is just probably one of the... I think it is the best made film of the MCU thus far. And I would be... personally, I would... Yeah, I don't for a second expect Infinity War to be as good as the... I think I will probably love Infinity War, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. But I kind of see superhero film not so much as a genre as a storytelling device, right? Like, there's no reason that every superhero movie has to be of a kind. If you know what I mean. Like, I think ultimately what lets the superhero movies live or die is going to be their ability to tell stories in different genres, right?
Yeah.
And they're sort of getting there, but having there's more to these movies than just... I already said it, but there's more to these movies than just like strong dudes punching each other. That's not what I'm there to see necessarily. And if you can take a sci-fi movie and put superhero characters in that. You potentially could take like a Western and put superheroes in it. You can take an espionage film and put superheroes in it. You can take there's a whole realm of like what we would consider genre. And then you can just take the device of superheroes and put them in that genre. And doing that will allow the whole superhero oeuvre to remain fresh, because you now are telling different kinds of stories. And I think similar to that, by also actually using superheroes to sociocultural effect is also really important, because people will get bored of strong dudes punching each other all the time, unless they're punching each other for a reason.
I mean,
having... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people out there would cite comic book movie fatigue probably around a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we've been pretty lucky, especially with the MCU, especially with these last two movies. I think people were excited about Thor because it just felt kind of fresh and new and exciting, and we were just having just a lot of fun, like even maybe more so than we have ever had before.
Yeah, it was a comedy movie with a superhero in it.
Yeah,
mostly,
exactly. And then
right?
and then you with with deep ties to the MCU, which is what people want. And then you come along to Black Panther, and this is a movie that, as we've talked about already, is so much more important than where it fits in the greater list of MCU films. This is a movie that is infinitely more important than that, because it had something to say.
Yeah.
And I think that was just a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. It was a breath of fresh air for a tremendous number of people who are looking for representation, and they get it in this film. And then it's even a breath of fresh air for people who might be tired of the same old superhero movie where, yeah, you're fighting a god or you're fighting a big bad person who wants to destroy the universe. Killmonger is, in my opinion, the best villain that we've ever had in the MCU.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he had incredible motivation and a story that is just straight up truth.
Yeah.
A story that is just straight up out of the real world, which is surprising because, a lot of people look to movies, especially superhero movies, as escape, right? Mm-hmm. Movies like this are used as escapism, and you couldn't do that with this movie.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily true. I mean, like, from the whole perspective of, like, I mean, escape is the wrong word. There is definitely, like, an aspirational side to this movie.
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, Afrofuturist aesthetic is strictly there to be like, look at how awesome this would be. And, like, there is an element of escape to that where, like, it's fantasy, but it's aspirational, and it's positive, and it's reinforcing, and it's like it's just like it's a really good movie. There's also, like, going back to Killmonger, I like a bunch of the stuff about this movie. The best Marvel villains, not just in like the movies, but in the comic books as well, are the ones that are right. Yes. Right? Like, the ones that you can look at them and look at their motivations and look at what drives them and what they want to accomplish, and, like, empathize with it, right? So, like, Magneto, he's not wrong. His methods are not good, right? Like, his methods are wrong, but you can understand where he's coming from. And you can understand, like, the anger that drives it, and the like his desires, and the stories that are told between, like, Professor X and Magneto are the, like, well, mutants are supreme versus, like, no, we can live in harmony. And both of those points of view have value and are, like, there's a conversation that can happen between those characters through the story. And that is also, like, really present in this movie, where, like, Killmonger's not wrong. He's a monster, and what he wants to do is really bad, but his ideas, the reasoning behind it is valid, and you can empathize with it, and you can understand the anger, and you can, like, he's not just a monster. He's like, he's human. And you can see it, and you can understand it, and you can sympathize or empathize with it, and you can see where he's right. And there can be that conversation between, like, we have to rule the world the right way to make sure that our people are liberated, versus the, like, we can help the world, and we can help the oppressed, and we can liberate everyone. And those two perspectives sort of like clashing with each other. Like, again, you can see value in both of them. They're like a mirror of each other. And that kind of dynamic in a film is really powerful, particularly if you have a statement you want to make with it. And then this movie does. And I like it. It absolutely means that Eric is easily one of, if not the best villain in the Marvel Universe to date. One of the best characters in the Marvel Universe to date. Like, Michael B. Jordan's acting is incredible. Like, everybody in this movie is great, but he's fantastic. And I, like, that character is incredible.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some of the surface stuff. Let's just talk about how kick-ass cool this movie is.
It's kick-ass cool.
Because it is really kick-ass cool. Oh man, this was not a movie that when it was originally announced, I had much. I guess I just didn't have any expectations for it. Black Panther is not particularly a character that I was well versed in. I mean, most of these characters, I've never been a big comic book guy, but when that first trailer hit, I was like, okay, I'm in. Yes, please. And it just delivered. I was actually kind of surprised. The timeline that they set up is kind of interesting. It's a week after the events of
Civil War,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I really do like it when these movies give you a sense of time. And I wish that they did it more often, especially the ones that are set on Earth. There's always little hints and discussions about, like, well, this event happened, so it's like, okay, well, I know it's after that event, but I don't quite know how long after. But this is just very obviously, like, they say it right in the movie, a week after this event, this is what's going on, which is awesome. I love that. But man, everything else about this movie is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about Wakanda. I love its design. I love his just sort of one-off line of "this never gets old" as they fly in through the shield, because it's literally like what the audience thinks of. Like, if you ever see it for that second time, I knew that line was coming, and I basically just said it to myself because I was like, this is never going to get old.
Yeah.
That reveal is so good. And that was super, super great. God, I don't know. Your turn. Talk about something cool.
Do I have to pick just one thing?
No, just pick one thing, and then I'll go back, and then we'll just trade back and forth talking about how awesome this is.
Everything's great. I really love the like variety of perspectives in this movie, which isn't like a surface level thing, but I mean, it kind of is. It's one of the sort of more surface level like themes of the movie, of the traditionalism versus innovation. But like, Shuri is awesome, great character. And I mean,
she was just the breakout star of this film.
Absolutely.
Like, it was universally like agreed upon that she was probably one of the best parts of the movie, at least when it comes to, like, again, that easy to grasp thing that everybody can sort of take a hold of and just enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just I love the scene, the first scene where it's like we're sending you out on the mission, and here's all of your new toys, and it's just so James Bond.
Yes, there's a real James Bond streak in this movie.
Yeah, just this great sort of like Shuri is Q kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
like she's a core. I just loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. Like everything, like with the car and the new suit and the little gags about, use this, and James Bond would often like be kind of adult with it, and Q would yell at him, and that's exactly what happened here. Like, it's just, I loved it. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. Man, I don't know even where to start. I love basically everything about this movie. Much of it
fair.
is so good. I'm trying to think of like anything specific, and it's just like basically everything. This movie bats 1,000. It hits every single thing it tries to do out of the park.
Man, I'm excited for our nitpick section.
It's gonna be a
Because-
quiet section, I think.
It's just a moment of silence for a movie that has nothing wrong with it whatsoever, which is probably not true.
No,
but, you know,
but
whatever. I love our Tolkien white guys, and yes, I know that's not my joke, but I do love it. It's a good joke. That is a solid damn joke.
Yep.
And it's really great. But it was cool to see Andy Serkis back. He plays that character incredibly well, and it's one that now that he's gone, I kind of wish we had gotten more of, because it just never felt like we got enough of. Like, we got more of him here than we had ever gotten before, and he was just great.
Yeah.
And then Martin Freeman back as well. It's sort of the same thing. Like, both of these guys were really great, and I expect that we will see more of Martin Freeman's character.
Yeah. Provided there's a
moving
Black
forward,
Panther
for
too.
sure. Yeah, I was pretty sure that he was.
Oh, he might just be in Infinity War.
Oh no, it doesn't look like it.
Oh, okay.
At least he's not on the Wikipedia page. So
Gotcha.
if he is,
It's
it hasn't
cameo.
been confirmed yet. So yeah. But yeah, thought he was great. It seems like every time Forrest Whitaker is in a movie these days, he's sort of underused.
And then dies.
And yeah,
He's the
and
new
then
Sean
dies.
Bean.
But Sean Bean's never underused. Like, Sean Bean comes in there and he takes on this massive role, and you're like, cool. Oh, he's dead. But like Forrest Whitaker, like, because it's like this. There was Star Wars. I feel like there was something else like in recent memory. Now I'm gonna go look at his filmography, because I feel like there was something else.
Filmography.
Maybe not. Oh, he was in Arrival, and that's another one where it's just like, I mean, he didn't die, but
He was
again,
in Arrival? I don't even remember him being in Arrival.
Yeah, he played the Colonel.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it was just. I guess maybe it's just the fact that it was Star Wars and then Black Panther. Like, those were pretty close together.
Yeah.
But he's just phenomenal and should just be in everything. But yeah, I thought he was pretty sweet as well. I love the tech of this movie. It's really cool.
Yep.
I'm super excited to see it continue to grow in the future movies. I'm really excited for the moment that Tony Stark just like finds out what Wakanda is, because that's gotta be at least a little bit of a moment in Infinity War,
Right.
at least maybe like this, he doesn't spend a lot of time there, but certainly he knows about it. We've seen scenes, like, we know that a part of the movie takes place in Wakanda.
Yeah.
So presumably he is made aware of it, and I cannot wait to see that interaction. Like, the sort of the fan dream team is like, I want to see Iron Man and Shuri go head to head.
Yeah.
In sort of like in a tech off.
Yeah.
Like, that's just gold. Like, that is just got to be done.
Yeah.
But I loved the suit. I loved the cool absorption thing. I loved the beads. The car that, like, you can drive from a distant. Like,
yeah. The hollow car. We using the
Yeah.
sand table to recreate all the controls.
Which is just phenomenal. Like, that chase scene in the streets of Korea is just unreal.
Oh yeah.
How good that chase. Like, that's probably one of my all-time favorite car chases in movie history. Like, it is impeccably well made.
It's the shot of, like, I think my favorite bit in that entire chase scene is like Nakia and Okoye in the car being shot at, and the bullets just ricocheting off, and Claw's like, it's a vibranium car, the bullets won't go through it. And then Okoye is just like, keep it steady, and climbs out the window and gets on the roof and then stabs through the roof with the spear, and like the little look of on Nakia's face where she's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But that shot of her like crouched on the roof, like with the knife in the roof of the car, holding the spear with the red dress just like flowing in the wind. And the look on her face as she looks like she's just having the time of her life.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that really shot is so good.
Yeah.
And then the spear throw that just wrecks the entire. Oh man, that whole scene is amazing.
Yeah, it's real good. I'm trying to think of what else. The final big fight scene is also pretty damn good. I do like me some war rhinoceroses. Those are pretty dope.
Oh yeah, the rhinoceros bit is great.
Can't complain about that. I guess I feel like Martin Freeman's character should probably get in a little bit of trouble, right? Like there's got to be some paperwork he's got to fill out for
intervening in a civil war.
Yeah, for essentially intervening in a civil war on, yeah. I feel like he's got to fill out at least a form or two for that one.
Probably, yeah.
My bad. I may or may not have killed people.
I owed them one.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's honestly like my only. I mean, speaking of nitpicks, I think that's actually kind of my only nitpick is that I feel like they sort of just. That was a little too easy, I guess. I don't know. Like, it feels like there should actually be real consequences for what he did there.
Maybe.
Just because of how, I don't know, how serious and how real this movie felt at times. And then all of a sudden, he's in there flying a freaking jet and shooting down people. And it's like, okay, I guess.
Not just people, though.
Yeah.
Servants of like a legitimately ascended ruler.
Yeah.
Like he was working with the rebels in that case, on an unauthorized op. So who knows? That's you know what? I'm willing to hand wave it.
I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, so am I. But I'm just saying
he stopped a ploy for global domination. Like. Okay, it comes out in the wash.
Sure, that's fair. I feel like that's a pretty easy excuse when it comes to superhero movies. Is like, if you do something that normally would get you in trouble, but it saves the entire world, then you're kind of off the hook.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
It's like, all right, Ross, get over here. Give me your badge and your gun. Okay, and here you go. Have them back because we're all still alive.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Because we're already peeking over an hour here, we should start heading towards the end. So give me some goofs.
So after the spear throw and the car explode, or no, and then Ross or Claw leans out the window and blows up the car, and Okoye like spears a door and lands and comes to a stop, and then. Nakia in the driver's seat like skids to a halt beside her.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. It's super good.
That is a good goof.
That one's really good. What are those? Is really good. That one's everybody's favorite.
Yeah. To be honest, it's not like a goof heavy movie. Especially coming off the back of Ragnarok.
Thor,
yeah. Like it just the contrast is like, oh my God, there are so many goofs in Thor, but Black Panther is not a whole bunch.
Yeah, like 80% of the goofs in this movie are like family sarcasm, right? Like just people digging at each other. Which is super fun to watch.
Yeah.
But
Well, just as he comes back at the very beginning, and his sister gives him shit for freezing.
yeah,
And walks away and just flips him the bird and stuff like that. It's just like that. I mean, sure, it's a I guess you can call it a goof, but it's just a really real interaction between like a brother and a sister, which is kind of great.
yeah. But I like that. He's the king, quote unquote, but he has this inner circle of family and friends that he's super familiar with, right?
Yes.
Like everything, and it feels like just his nature that he's pretty familiar with. Like he's not a huge stickler for ceremony, so like he is probably pretty familiar and open with most people, but like he's got this circle of people that straight up disrespect him to his face, and that's okay because they are on that kind of a term. So like he's got the sort of like bratty sibling conduct with his sister, and like Okoye being like having been his bodyguard for his entire life. Like they're clearly good friends. And the like, don't freeze. I never freeze. And then she saves his butt and it's like, you froze.
Yeah.
And like his sort of like flirty banter back and forth with Nakia is really cute. And yeah, like all of that is awesome. I like that. It makes it feel like they're a family unit. And it speaks of a relationship there that sort of like predates the events of this movie.
All right.
Also, the rhinoceros.
The rhinoceros.
That's another really good gag where it just stops because it won't run Okoye over and then licks her face.
Yeah, and licks her face. Yeah, that's really good. All right, give me a nitpick. I got one.
You have one. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely have one. When Killmonger tells them to burn all of the heart-shaped herbs,
yeah,
that just seems like a bad idea. Because now you have no backup. Like you should be fully aware that you live in a world where something or someone is going to be able to take your power away. And to say burn it all down. Also, like, is there any left? Like,
we don't know.
She gets in and she steals one, and that's what's able to bring Black Panther back to being Black Panther. But presumably everything else got burned, so
I'm sure if they come back to it, they'll find more. But
yeah,
but I like that scene is symbolic, right?
Oh,
like
absolutely
it's not really literal necessarily. I mean, it is. It literally happens in the events of the movie, but its purpose for the film is symbolic more than it is literal.
I absolutely get that, but from a nitpicky standpoint, maybe just pick a few for yourself and hide them away under your bed or something.
Yeah.
And then tell them to burn it and make it seem like there's none left, but just in case you have these two hidden under your mattress.
Yeah.
In case one day somebody comes around and is like, yoink, steal your power.
Yeah.
And you're not completely boned. But that's like, and that's it. Like, that's my nitpick. Like, that's the only nitpick I have with the movie, and it's a really dumb nitpick because that's what nitpicks are supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't even think I have a nitpick.
All right. Then
he was kept alive by snow. Kept alive by snow.
What's wrong with being kept alive by snow? Put him on ice. That's how it works.
I'm not sure that's exactly how that works.
Yeah, probably not. But all right, so we've got don't burn your shit and kept alive by ice. Got it. Well, now I am genuinely interested where you're going to put this movie on your list, Matt, because you really make it seem like it's going to be high up there.
It is.
Like, it's like, I honestly don't know if you're going to put it at 1 or
probably
or
not
2. Okay, so you're not going to put it at 1.
No.
Are you going to put it at 2?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you're going to put it at 3.
I think I'm putting it at 4, actually.
You're putting it at 4?
Yeah.
So you're putting it just below the Avengers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like this is a brilliant movie that I really enjoy. It gives me a great deal of optimism for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is an incredibly well-made film that I enjoy immensely. But the Avengers was more important to me personally. And Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Captain America, Civil War are two of my favorite films ever.
That's fair.
So, like, it's got to go where it's got to go. For me, it is number 4 behind the Avengers. But that is let's be fair here. That is a very tight grouping of films. It's not like there's a lot of space between my number 1 and my number 4. There's probably a bigger gap between Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 than there is between the Winter Soldier and
movies.
Black Panther. Yeah.
And Black Panther. Okay, that's fair. I think that's pretty important to say. And again, these lists are not what we think are the best to worst. They're what is our favorite to our least favorite. And we've said it again and again. Even our least favorite movies in these series are still really great films that we love and enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Right? You know, Iron Man 2 is near the bottom of my list. I still love Iron Man 2. I still want to watch it if I get the chance.
Yep. I would pretty much watch any of these movies if it was on.
Yeah, but
I would, in fact, even go out of my way to watch any of these movies.
Yeah, but I do stand by the fact that I think Black Panther is fundamentally the best made movie of all of the movies so far.
Yep.
And I think it will probably remain that way for a while. I don't see Infinity War taking over. I don't see Ant-Man and the Wasp taking over.
No.
I think there is just too much importance in this film. I think it is too important to say anything less of it. I think it is brilliantly made. And I am putting it at number 2.
Oh, you're putting it above the Avengers.
I put it above the Avengers.
Oh, wow.
There is probably a universe not too far away where this movie is my number 1 movie. But at the end of the day, I still just love The Winter Soldier so much.
Yeah.
Because again, it is just one of my favorite movies of all time. And to be fair, Black Panther is probably up there as well. But if we're talking like top 5, The Winter Soldier is the Marvel movie that gets in that, and that's why it will probably remain my number 1, at least until a couple days from now.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll see. But yeah, that's it. We did it. We watched all 18 MCU films over the past 3.5 months.
Now what am I going to do with my life?
I had an absolute blast doing this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the fact that we agreed literally on the podcast and not speaking in real life that we would continue to do these.
I was so glad you brought that up. I was going to suggest it anyhow, like after we had done the Infinity War episode, I was going to suggest it in person. But yeah, my excitement on that episode was entirely genuine.
Yeah,
I was so thrilled.
So I think the fact that we both individually came to that realization and did so on an episode without ever talking to each other outside of a recording session is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
so,
the only reason I didn't bring it up myself on an episode was just because I didn't want to shoehorn you into agreeing to do it if you didn't want to do it while we were recording, and then you have to have you edit that section out of the episode.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You're just trying to get that sweet cashola. You're just trying to milk us for all we got.
All those checks I've collected over the past 3.5 months.
Exactly. All right, so you are listening to this. The earliest is sometime on Wednesday, January 25th, which means we're going to Infinity War tomorrow night, or later tonight, or we've already seen it.
Yeah, depending, I guess, on when you listen to this. But
when you listen to this episode. So, if you are listening to this episode, I'm going to endeavor to get it out Wednesday morning, so as to give people as much time as humanly possible to listen to it before going to see Infinity War on, I assume, the weekend that's coming up here.
Yeah.
But if by chance you are one of the folks who are going to go see it Thursday night, so that's the 26th of April, myself and Matt and actually Ashley are going to go see the 10 p.m.-ish, I think, is it 10? 10 o'clock show.
10:30,
Pacific.
I think. I gave myself
10:30.
lots of time.
Yeah, so 10:30 Pacific. The show here in Victoria, so that's Pacific. We're gonna watch the film
In IMAX.
We're gonna in IMAX. Well, in
it's Limax, but yeah.
It's fake IMAX, but
but aspect ratio at least.
exactly. And then we're going to come back to the office at an ungodly time, probably like 1:30 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
And we are going to hit go live on Twitch.
I'm gonna be so tired.
And we're gonna just talk about the movie. It will probably take a little bit of a different format than these shows have been in the last several months. Again, it's not a rewatch podcast. It's more or less just going to be our immediate reaction to the movie.
Yep.
So it's going to contain a tremendous amount of spoilers. So I would definitely suggest not listening to that episode until you have actually seen the movie.
If you're spoiler sensitive, I guess. But
yeah, if you don't care about spoilers, then of course you can join us. We'll go live. We'll probably be screaming for like a few minutes, and then we'll actually like get into the actual recording of the episode. We'll try to keep it on like the shorter side, because it's going to be late as hell, but also because I would like to spend at least a little bit of time talking with the live audience that we're going to have.
Yep.
And I don't want to include that in the podcast section because it's a little awkward.
Yes.
So we're gonna record the podcast proper, and we're gonna give it a good beginning and an end, and then I will take that and edit out the stuff at the start and the finish, and we'll get that uploaded to YouTube and that uploaded to iTunes and all the other podcast venues and stuff like that.
We may want to still upload the Q&A portion to YouTube, just so that it's like
so
there.
It will go up. Yeah, so it will be a VOD on Twitch, obviously, and then it will go up onto our replay YouTube channel at youtube.com/loadingreadylive.
Perfect.
Probably within the week is the schedule that we are now currently aiming for.
Right.
So yeah,
cool. So just
look forward to it.
On the topic of people who are going to be seeing this opening night. Mm-hmm. This was actually posted to the Loading Ready Run Discord this morning, but it's just a quote from an article talking about the pre-sales for tickets for Infinity War. Mm-hmm. AMC noted that Infinity War's advance ticket sales were 257.6% ahead of Black Panther's, 751.5% ahead of Captain America Civil War, and 1,106.5% ahead of Avengers Age of Ultron during the same time frame. 2 weeks before its release, Fandango revealed that advance ticket sales for Infinity War were outpacing the last 7 MCU films combined in the same time frame.
What? What's the theoretical... Because there has to be a theoretical maximum amount of money a film is capable of making opening weekend.
Right. Like it's the number of screens times the number of seats times the number of showings.
Right? Like, there has to be a number. And I mean, like, it would vary from movie to movie because not all movies open on the same number of screens. And presumably, this is going to be opening on
as many screens as they can get. Yeah.
Yeah, thousands of screens throughout the U.S. and Canada. Yeah. And generally, when we're talking about opening weekend, we're talking about the big thing is, like, North American opening weekends.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is... the U.S. and Canada mostly, I think.
Yeah, well, this is AMC and Fandango, which both only operate in the U.S., I think. So this is actually just American sales numbers. And this is not for opening night tickets. This is all ticket pre-sales.
Yes.
But that's still...
It's
outpacing the
obscene.
Last 7 Marvel movies combined.
That's insane. I mean, this is what they've been working towards. Like, you don't put in this kind of work and then get excited about, the best opening weekend of all time. You get excited about the best opening weekend of all time that probably no one will ever touch ever again until next year.
Yeah, but I, like,
When you
even
do this-
Avengers
when you
4, I expect Avengers 4 to, like, depends on how they go, because if this is the one they're selling as, like, the culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe to date, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
So, like, it makes sense that there's a huge build to this one, and if Avengers 4 is a step back from that, rather than, like, if it turns out that they've been playing a long con and this is actually part 1 of 2, then potentially Avengers 4 blows up even bigger. But
it's not, right? They because that's originally what it was supposed to be.
Right. And then they said it wasn't.
Then they were like, no, that's a bad idea, because it's sort of like, I think it probably just restricts the ability for them to, tell the stories they want to tell.
Yeah. But they said it was, and then they said it wasn't. But then they won't release the name of the second one or the fourth one because it's a spoiler for the third one. And they were originally going to film them back to back, but they didn't quite. But it was like 1 month off before they went back to filming. Like they were as close to filmed back to back as they could have been. Like, I could see them having done that, where they actually it actually is the continuation of this story. It's just like they are two standalone quote unquote films, which each have their own self-contained arc. But like, if they don't do that, then they need to find another way to be like, Avengers 4's even bigger than Avengers 3 because we blew the whole bank on, like, Avengers 3 is the culmination of everything we've done. So who knows? Yep. Kevin Feige knows.
Yeah. And that's probably about it.
Probably.
Yeah. I've been loving the interviews with all of the stars of Infinity War that I've been seeing over the last week or so, now that they're sort of ramped into their press junkets.
Yeah.
And it's just they have I think the only person I've seen so far who said they've read the entire script was Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, really?
Has said, I have read the full script. It was required for me to know what was happening because of the role that I played in this film. But apparently very few other people have read the whole script, and nobody has seen the finished movie.
Yeah, that I knew.
Yeah.
I also knew that most of the main characters were only given their pages of the script. Like they didn't. Nobody got full copies of the script unless they absolutely had to.
Yeah, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. Oh my God, we're so close.
I know. A little over a week.
Assume that when you're listening to this episode that I am just
vibrating through the walls.
I just want it to be Thursday night at 10:30, just right now. That's all I want in life.
Yeah.
9 more days. We can do this. Okay.
I just hope there's not a storm on Thursday.
As long as I have my tickets, I don't care.
Well, I have your tickets.
You can forward me the email. All right. That's going to wrap us up for this week. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in, whether it be on YouTube or iTunes or wherever it is you listen to podcasts. Of course, we wouldn't be able to do this without your support over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It allows us to do everything that we do. So thank you so much for your support over there. In the description below, I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff this week. I'm going to put the regular stuff, which is a link to our Twitter accounts. I'm going to put the link to Loading Ready Run, of course. I'm going to put the link in there to Matt's YouTube and Twitch channel. But I'm also going to include a bunch of the links that we talked about at the beginning of the episode, to the articles and to the videos that we briefly mentioned. I'm going to publish the full list, both Matt and I's full list of the rankings that we've sort of come to at the end of this journey. Obviously, there will be one more to add to the list, but for now, this is it. This is the complete list. We did it.
Yep.
We have all 18 movies ranked. I am pretty happy with where my list ended up.
Yeah, previously I'd said I wanted a chance to rearrange it, but now I don't know what I would rearrange.
No, I'm leaving mine.
Yeah.
So for a while there, I wanted to move the original Guardians up a bit, but I don't anymore. I am happy and content with where my list has ended up.
Yeah.
But
I'm at
please,
peace with it.
I would love. This is a great week. I would love to see in the comments your lists. I want to see where you have ranked all of these films over the course of the last 18 weeks. I want to see how yours differs from ours, or maybe how yours is very similar to ours. At the end of the day, we do not have identical lists, but we do more or less value the films within about one or two of one another, which is pretty interesting. It's honestly, it's probably what I would have guessed was going to happen, but I'm pretty pleased that they're at least different enough.
They're not carbon copies of one another.
They're not carbon copies. It's fine. The first movie, I think what I love the most about this list is the first movie and the last movie is the same movie.
Yes. There's an agreed upon best and agreed upon worst.
Yeah, and I think the only other instance where they line up is Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Yep.
Thor: The Dark World sits at
number 15 for both of us.
Yeah. Number 15, or 14 for both of us because we have our names up there.
No, it was in the 16th row. I already did that deduction for you.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at 15. My bad. But yeah, this is good. This has been a good show. I'm excited about next week, or I guess tomorrow, and I'm excited about the future. It's going to be good.
We got to figure out what our next rewatch podcast is going to be.
Let's rewatch. Do you want to do movies or a TV show this time?
I was joking, but we can have that discussion if you want.
How about Cheers?
I've never watched Cheers, so it wouldn't be a rewatch.
Oh. How about Frasier?
I've only watched some of Frasier, so it also wouldn't really be a rewatch.
What late 80s, early 90s sitcom did you watch all of, and don't say Friends?
I didn't. Well, I watched a lot of Friends, but I don't know, Murphy Brown?
Oh, hell yeah, we're doing it. That actually works really well because they're rebooting Murphy Brown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Murphy Brown's coming back.
Countdown to Murphy Brown.
Oh my god, that actually just sounds phenomenal. Countdown to Murphy Brown. Holy shit, that's... Wow, we are 100% doing... Wait, how many episodes?
How have I signed myself up for this?
Wait, hold on. Murphy Brown. How many episodes of... okay, it's returning to CBS with 13 episodes. Oh my god, there's 247 episodes.
You did it to yourself.
I regret everything. Countdown to Murphy Brown has been canceled. This show, this is exactly what I was talking about. Late 80s, early 90s. 1988 to 1997.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Fantastic.
All right,
well, look forward to that podcast.
Beginning in April
later.
or beginning in May.
Well, when does season 11 premiere?
This year, so we better get started. This is a new daily podcast series. Twice daily.
Twice daily is, I think, the only way we could possibly do it.
Congratulations. Welcome to your new full-time job. You're now employed for the remainder of 2018 as a Murphy Brown rewatch podcaster.
Ugh, I love it. All right. That's it. We're done. Let's stop talking about this silly, silly idea and move on with our lives. We'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for listening. Toodles. So I just realized that I don't know if you are all aware of this, but when we put in that silence, that's not edited in silence. It's not like we end the episode and then we're just like, all right, and now let's do this. No, we literally just sit here in silence. And I kind of love that that's what we've done, but it occurred to me only now on the more or less final episode for the podcast, that I could literally just edit in like, because there is a little bit of room tone. It's not perfect silence.
But you could edit in some room tone.
But I could literally just copy a second of room tone and just paste it for however long I damn well want.
Yeah.
And people would never know. So, like, I think I just sat there
all along.
Yeah, I sat there for we sat there for 20 seconds of silence. I could have just sat there for 1 second of silence, copied and pasted it, 40 times, and had the same effect.
Yeah, it's been more exciting for me to sit here and wonder when you were going to pipe back up again in perfect silence.
Yeah, that's fair. I enjoy it. It gives me a second to sort of collect myself and get back into a position to talk about mid-credit and post-credits, because we got both of them.
Yeah. So what do a bunch of farmers have to teach the rest of the world?
Yeah, so we've got... So the mid-credit scene sees T'Challa and his sick posse appear before the United Nations to basically say, all right, we're ready to sort of come out of hiding. We're ready to be a part of this world, recognizing that, the world is getting much smaller, and it's time to band together as one tribe, as he says, to treat the world to treat the world as a single tribe, and to better the lives of everybody on it. And yeah, you get the smart ass, whatever UN person being like, and what exactly does Wakanda have to offer? Because everybody just sees him as a third world nation.
Yes.
That is unbelievably poor, and obviously that's not true. And boy, oh boy, am I excited to see because I think we will 100% be seeing the effects of this new Wakanda in Infinity War, right? We are going to be seeing what an open and giving Wakanda looks like on this planet, and I'm pretty excited for that one.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and I mean, so that's sort of the big one. There's the post-credit scene, which sees our friend Bucky Barnes waking up and walking out of a cool little hut onto a very pretty area. And you'll remember that at the end of Civil War, Bucky basically said, "I need to not be conscious,
yeah,
until somebody can figure out how to get what Hydra put in my head out of my head," and presumably, with the fact that he is now awake and hanging out and recovering in Wakanda, means that they figured out how to do it.
Yeah. And
that makes sense. I think that's a cool little storyline that I hope that we get to explore a little bit.
We should.
In some future movies, but I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
There was also
he has a new
hero
moniker, apparently.
Yeah, so there was references to White Wolf.
Yep.
Which is that a comic thing?
So yeah, it is. Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I was not prepared for this. As I understand it, White Wolf is not. Yeah, White Wolf is a Black Panther character in the comics. He is not Bucky Barnes. He is he is another sort of Black Panther style hero where he when his parents died in a plane crash in the African nation of Mohanda, just north of the border with Wakanda, Hunter was adopted by the Wakandan king T'Chaka. So it looks like he's the sort of adoptive brother of T'Challa in the comic books. I'm not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy because I honestly have not read a lot of Black Panther. It looks like he's maybe a bad guy or sometimes bad guy. He is an espionage agent and mercenary.
I hope that they're just sort of lending on the name and giving a little nod.
Yeah, that is what it is going to be. He's a war dog apparently.
Okay.
But he's a leader of a like militant faction thereof.
Okay, because here's what I'm going to say. I sort of place Bucky in the same category as the Hulk, which is to say I am done with the Winter Soldier and bad Bucky.
Yes, me too.
I would be less annoyed if they continue to do what they've done with the Hulk than if they revert Bucky back to bad Bucky.
Yeah,
I'm very much done with that story.
Yeah, I don't think Bucky's going back to being bad.
No, I don't think so either. But in case you're listening, people over at Marvel, and I assume you're fans of the podcast,
of course,
because you should be. This is, I believe, the number 3 podcast called Countdown to Infinity. Yeah, take heed. Don't mess with Bucky anymore. Just, he's a good guy. We're good.
But don't make him Captain America either, because that's boring.
That's less boring than making him bad Bucky. Then. If I only have the choice between those two, make him Captain America. Please.
No, just let him and Steve have their happy ending.
All right. Ew. What? I don't think that's going to happen in this kind of movie. It's a family movie.
Well, as I've said previously, let them ride off into the sunset.
Okay, that's fair.
That's allowed.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. That's it. We're done. We're heading off to go see the movie right now.
I don't think that's quite true.
I'm gonna go get in line right now.
Okay, I've still got your tickets.
That's fine. I'll be at the movie theater for the next 9 days.
You know there's selected seats, right? We don't have to rush to get good seats.
Don't care. First in line.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Who am I to argue?
Okay. Exactly. Don't argue. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and I guess we'll see you like tomorrow or very soon.
Oh, very early the day after tomorrow, I believe, is actually more accurate.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. Very early the day after tomorrow, we'll be back. All right. Later.
Bye.